shit, that coffee is hot. God damn. Hey, alright, here we go.
The true secret of the Philosopher's Stone, or the Jewel of Alchemy, wherein the process of making the great elixir is discovered, by which base metals may be turned into pure gold, containing the most excellent and profitable instructions in hermetic art, discovering that valuable and secret medicine of the philosophers, to make men healthy, wise, and happy. By Francis Barrett, student of chemistry, natural philosophy, etc., 1801. Although we do not, in any point of science, arrogate perfection in ourselves, yet something we have attained by dear experience, by diligent labor, and by study worthy of being communicated for the instruction of either the licentious libertine or the grave student, the observer of nature. In this, our work, we concentrated into a focus. It is, as it were, a spiritual essence drawn from a large quantity of matter. For we can say with propriety that this little treatise is truly spiritual and essential to the happiness of man. Therefore, to those who wish to be happy, with every good intention we commend this work to be their constant companion and study, in which, if they persevere, they shall not fail of their desires in the attainment of the true Philosopher's Stone. Part 1. It is not necessary here to enter into a long detail of the merits of alchemical authors and philosophers. Suffice it to say that alchemy, the grand touchstone of natural wisdom, is of divine origin. It was brought down from heaven by the angel Uriel. Zoroaster, the first philosopher by fire, made pure gold from all the 7 metals. He brought the sun 10 times brighter from the bed of Saturn, and fixed it with the moon, who thereby copulating, begot a numerous offspring of an immortal nature, a pure, living, spiritual sun, burning in the refulgency of its own divine light, a seed of a sublime and fiery nature, a vigorous progenitor. This Zoroaster was the father of alchemy, illumined divinely from above. He knew everything, yet seemed to know nothing. His precepts of art were left in hieroglyphics, yet in such a sort that none but the favorites of heaven ever reaped benefit thereby. He was the first who engraved the pure Kabbalah in most pure gold, and, when he died, resigned it to his Father, who liveth eternally, yet begot him not. That Father gives it to his sons, who follow the precepts of wisdom with vigilance, ingenuity, and industry, and with a pure, chaste, and free mind. Hermes Trismegistus, Geber, Artephius, Bacon, Helmont, Lully, and Basil Valentine have written most profoundly, yet abstrusely, and all declare not the thing sought for. Some say they were forbid, others that they declared it obviously and intelligibly, yet some few little points they kept to themselves. However far off the main point they lead us, of this be sure, that something valuable is to be drained, as it were, out of each. Geber, that is Jabir ibn Hayyan, is good. Artephius is better, but Flamel is best of all. And better still than these is the instruction we give. For with them a man, following our directions, shall never want gold. Therefore, to be an adept is possible, but seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. This is truth incontrovertible, and herein lies a vast secret. Seek, and ye shall find. But remember, whatsoever ye ask, ye shall receive. The Kabbalah enables us to understand, to bring our understandings to act, and by that means, to attain knowledge. Knowledge makes us the children of God. God makes whom he pleases adepts in wisdom. To be an adept, according to God's will, is no contemptible calling. The noble and virtuous brethren of the Rosy Cross holds this truth sacred, that virtue flies from no man. Therefore, how desirable a thing is virtue? She teaches us first wisdom, then charity, love, mercy, faith, and constancy. All these appertain to virtue. Therefore, it is physically possible for any well-inclined man to become an adept, provided he lays aside his pride of reasoning, all obstinacy, blindness, hypocrisy, incredulity, superstition, deceit, etc. An adept, therefore, is one who not only studies to do God's will upon earth in respect of his mortal and religious duties, but who studies and ardently prays to his benevolent Creator to bestow on him wisdom and knowledge from the fullness of his treasury, and he mediates day and night how he may attain the true aqua vita, how he may be filled with the grace of God, which, when he is made so happy, his spiritual and internal eye is opened to a glorious prospect of mortal and immortal riches. He wants not food, raiment, joy, or any other thing. He is filled with the celestial spiritual manna. He enjoys the marrow and fat things of the earth. He treads the winepress, not of the wrath, but of the mercy of God. He lives to the glory of God, and dies saying, Holy, 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 Lord of Sabaoth. Blessed is thy name, now and forevermore. Amen. Therefore, to be an adept, as we have before hinted, is to know thyself, to fear God, and to love thy neighbor as thyself. And by this thou shalt come to the fulfillment of thy desires, O man, but by no other means, under the scope of heaven. When thy soul shall be made drunk by the divine ambrosial nectar, then shall thy understanding be more clear than the noontide sun. Then, by thy strong and spiritualized intellectual eye, shalt thou see into the great treasury of nature, and thou shalt praise God with thy whole heart. Then wilt thou see the folly of the world, and thou shalt unerringly accomplish thy desire, and shalt possess the true philosopher's stone, to the profit of thy neighbor. I say thou shalt visibly and sensibly, according to thy corporal faculties, not imaginary, not delusively, but real. Now we will hasten to the manner of preparation necessary to qualify a man for the attainment of these sublime gifts.
Hey, okay. I'm just changing my mic settings a little bit.
Of the preparation of a man to qualify him for the search of this treasure, and of the first matter, prima materia, of the stone. Lesson 1. The preparation for this work is simply this. Learn to cast away from thee all vile affections, all levity and inconstancy of mind. Let all thy dealings be free from deceit and hypocrisy. Avoid the company of vain young men. Hate all profligacy and profane speaking.
Right?
Lesson 2. Keep thy own and thy neighbor's secrets. Court not the favors of the rich. Despise not the poor, for he who does will be poorer than the poorest. Lesson 3. Give to the needy and unfortunate what little thou canst spare. For he that has but little, whatever he spares to the miserable, God shall amply reward him.
Right?
Lesson 4. Be merciful to those who offend thee, or those who have injured thee. For what must that man's heart be who would take heavy vengeance on a slight offense? Thou shalt forgive thy brother until 70 times 7. Lesson 5. Be not hasty to condemn the actions of others, lest thou shouldst the next hour fall into the very same error. Despise scandal and tattling. Let thy words be few. Lesson 6. Study day and night and supplicate thy Creator, that he would be pleased to grant thee knowledge and understanding, and that the pure spirits may have communication with and influence in thee. Lesson 7. Be not overcome with drunkenness, for be assured that half the evils that befall mankind originate in drunkenness. For too great a quantity of strong liquors deprive men of their reason. Then, having lost the use of the faculties of their judgment, they immediately become the recipient of all evil influences, and are justly compared to weathercocks that are driven hither and thither by every gust of wind. So those who drown the reasonable power are easily persuaded to the lightest and most frivolous pursuits, and from these to vices more gross and reprobate. For the ministers of darkness have never so favorable an opportunity of insinuating themselves into the minds and hearts of men as when they are lost in intoxication. I pray you to avoid this dreadful vice. Lesson 8. Avoid gluttony and all excess. It is very pernicious, and from the devil. These are the things that constantly tempt man, and by which he falls a prey to his spiritual adversary. For he is rendered incapable of receiving any good or divine gift. Besides, the divine and angelic powers or essences delight not to be conversant about a man who is defiled and stinking with debauchery and excess. Lesson 9. Covet not much gold, but learn to be satisfied with enough. For to desire more than enough is to offend the deity. Lesson 10. Read often these 10 preparatory lessons to fit thee for the great work, and for the receiving of higher things. For the more pure thou art in heart and mind, by so much quicker shall you receive those high secrets we teach, and which are entirely hid from the discernment of the vicious and depraved, because it never can happen that such a source of treasure can be attained merely to satisfy our more gross, earthly, and vain desires and inclinations, because here nothing must be thought to be grasped or wrested out of this book, but to the fulfilling of a good end and purpose. When thou shalt have so far purified thy heart, as we have spoken, is indispensably necessary for the receiving of every good thing, thou shalt then see with other eyes than thou dost at present. Thy spiritual eye will be opened, and thou shalt read man as plain as thou wilt read our books. But, for all this, depend not on the strength of thy own wisdom, for even then, when we think our hearts secure, if we do not watch them that they sleep not, the devil, or his ministers, immediately takes us at this unguarded moment and tempts us into the actual commission of some sin or other. Either he excites our appetites for lust and concupiscence, or any other deadly sin. Therefore, using our blessed Redeemer's words, "What I say unto you, I say unto all. Watch." Perhaps, I do not doubt, but there are some that will say, when they look at our works, "This fellow is all rant, all preaching. He tells us what we knew before, as well as himself." To such I say, let them read our book but twice. If they do not gather something that they will acknowledge precious, nay, be convinced that it is precious to their own satisfaction, I will burn these writings, and they shall be no more remembered by me. To conclude this part, we say that the first matter, prima materia, Adam brought with him out of paradise, and left it as an inheritance to us, his successors. Had he remained in his original purity, he would have been permitted to have used it himself, but the eternal fiat was passed, that he was to earn his bread by the sweat of his brow. Therefore, he could not effect what was afterwards performed by some of his offspring. Hermes Trismegistus, that ancient philosopher, wrote touching the attainment of this stone, which he pronounced to be of all benefit to man, and one of the greatest blessings he could possess, and although his writings contain much of the excellency of truth, being wrapped up in such symbolical figures, it renders them exceedingly difficult to be understood. Yet, if comprehended, they, no doubt, contain some very great secrets by which mortal man may profit. Now, it belongs to our purpose to know what it is from which we must extract the first matter of this stone to go on with our process, because we must have materials to work upon. For all philosophers agree that, the first matter being found, we may proceed without much difficulty. For the first matter, I shall speak as plainly as possible. First, the grand question in debate is, where is it to be found? I say it is to be found in ourselves. We all possess this first matter, from the beggar to the king. Every mother's son carries it about him, and could our ingenious chemists but find a process for the extracting, how well would all their labors be repaid? The next question naturally comes to us: how are we to draw or attract the secret matter of the stone out of ourselves? Not by any common means, and yet it is to be drawn into very action, and that by the most simple means, in a manner that the attaining of the philosopher's stone would very soon follow it. And I pray you, my friend, look into thyself, and endeavor to find out in what part of thy composition is the prima materia of the lapis philosophorum, or out of what part of thy substance can the first matter of our stone be drawn out. Thou sayest it must either be in the hair, sweat, or excrement. I say in none of these thou shalt ever be able to find it, and yet thou shalt find it in thyself. Many great philosophers and chemists who I've had the pleasure to know affirm that, admitting the possibility of transmutation, it, that is the first matter, must be taken from the purest gold. To this I say it must not. Neither has it anything at all to do with extrinsical gold. They will say then that the pure ends of gold may be drawn from gold itself. True, it may be so. But then I would ask if they could ever produce more gold than that out of which the soul or essence was extracted. If they have, they have indeed found out a secret beyond the powers of our comprehension, because it is against reason to suppose that if a pound of gold yields a dram of the soul or essence, that only will tinge any more than a pound of purified lead or mercury, because we have tried various experiments, and I have, in some of my first essays, turned both lead and mercury into good gold, but no more than that out of which the soul was extracted. But, however, not to lose our time in vain and ridiculous disputation, know that whatever prodigious things or experiments have been tried with respect to the first matter, either in the mineral, animal, or vegetable kingdoms, as they are called, I say, in us is the power of all wonderful things, which the Supreme Creator has, of His infinite mercy, implanted in our souls. Out of her is to be extracted the first matter, the true argent vif, the mercury of the philosophers, the true ens of gold, namely, a spiritual, living gold, or waterish mercury, or first matter, which, by being matured, is capable of transmuting 1,000 points of impure metal into good and perfect gold, which endures fire, test, or cupel. Part 2. Of the manner of extracting the first matter of the Philosopher's Stone, and the use it is put to in purifying the imperfect metals and transmuting them into good gold. Lesson 11. Take the foregoing instructions as thy principal instrument, and know that our soul has the power, when the body is free, as we before said, of any pollution, and the heart void of malice and offense. I say the soul is then a free agent, and has the power, spiritually and magically, to act upon any matter whatsoever. Therefore, I said the first matter is in the soul, and the extracting of it is to bring the dormant power of the pure, living, breathing spirit and eternal soul into act. Note well that every agent has its power of acting upon its patient. Every essence that is distilled forth is received into a recipient, but that recipient must first be made clean. Even so must be the soul and heart of man. The vile affections must be thrown away and trampled underfoot. Then shalt thou be able to proceed in thy work, which is done in the following manner. Lesson 12. The expense thou must be at will be but a trifle. All the instruments necessary are but 3, namely a crucible, an egg philosophical, and a retort with its receiver. Put your fine gold, in weight about 5 pennyweights, file it up, and put it into your philosophic egg. Pour upon it the twice of its weight of the best Hungarian mercury. Close up the egg with a hermetic seal, and put it for 3 months in horse dung. Take it out at the end of that time, and see what kind of form thy gold and mercury has assumed. Take it out, pour on it half its weight of good spirit of sal ammoniac. Then, set them in a pot full of sand over the fire in the retort. Let them distill into a pure essence. Add to 1 point of this mercury 2 points of thy water of life, or prima materia. Put them into thy philosophical egg, and, Lesson 13, set them into horse dung for another 3 months. Then take them out and see what thou hast. A pure, ethereal essence, which is the living gold. Pour this pure spiritual liquor upon a dram of molten fine gold, and you will find that which will satisfy thy hunger and thirsting after the secret. For the increase of thy gold will seem to thee miraculous, as indeed it is. Take it to a jeweler or a goldsmith. Let him try it in thy presence, and thou wilt have reason to bless God for his mercy to thee. Do thy duty as he has commanded thee, and use all the benefit thou shalt receive in actions worthy of thy nature. Lesson 14. When thy spiritual eye is opened, and thou shalt begin to see to what end thou wert created, thou shalt want no necessary thing, either for thy comfort or support. Only keep in the rules we have prescribed in the beginning of this little treatise. Fear God, and love thy neighbor as thyself. Be not hasty to reveal any secrets thou mayest learn, for the good spirits both day and night will be thy instructors, and will continually reveal thee many secrets. Think not that thou canst either profit or benefit so much by the instruction of those who profess great advantages in classical education and high schooling. Be assured they are, in spiritual knowledge, much in the dark. For he who desires not spiritual knowledge cannot attain it by any means but by first coming to God. Secondly, by purifying his own heart. Thirdly, by submitting himself to the will of the Holy Spirit to guide and direct him in all truth, to the attaining of all knowledge, both human and divine, and by arrogating nothing to our own power or strength, but by referring all to the mercy and goodness of God. Amen. End of The Jewel of Alchemy by Francis Barrett. Read by Dan Atrell.
The Jewel of Alchemy, huh? Not bad. Fuck, press the wrong button. Oh, I guess it didn't matter. It's the end of the game anyway. All right, give me a second.
Nice work, guys. Resource.
Hey. All right, here we go. Got some out real quick.
Forces Occultus, or Occult Forces, subtitled The Mysteries of Freemasonry Unveiled for the First Time on Screen, is a French film produced in 1943 during occupied France by an ex-Freemason who, after the war, was executed for making this film. It tells the story of a young member of the French Parliament who joins a Freemason lodge at the urging of colleagues. Although made with German encouragement and support, it nonetheless reflected broad French sentiment. After France's liberation, the film's director, producer, and screenplay writer were severely punished and imprisoned for their role in this production. Director Jean Manet, a former Freemason, was sentenced to death and executed.
Sheesh.
It's a little bit under an hour, so I'm gonna play it for you now with subtitles. Enjoy. Occult Forces. Soviet sphere of influence, French sphere of influence, American sphere of influence.
See what their music they got.
Masonic spheres of influence. The movie starts in the Chamber of Deputies. From left to right, this parliament represents only corruption. You capitalists, you ceaselessly push the workforce to misery. And you communists, you never stop exploiting the misery that the capitalists want. Sirs, silence, please. All of you parliamentarians out of touch and on the perimeter. Don't insult parliamentarianism. Silence. Sirs, I will stop the meeting. Continue, Mr. Avenel. Sirs, I have no more to say. I have told you some truths, perhaps unpleasant, but still true. These interruptions won't stop me. The French community won't fight the conflicts. Conflicts between the selfish old bourgeoisie and the starving people. That's why I will not vote for this project, which panders to the international capitalists and would be a good pretext for the communists to accentuate our differences. I will not vote for it. No doubt I will be the only one who doesn't vote in favor, as it seems that by a strange aberration, the whole chamber is prepared as always to betray the interests of France, for the benefit of certain very particular international interests. Bravo, Avenel. You must leave, ladies. Please leave. But I'm the wife of the deputy, who just spoke. Manifestations are forbidden, madam. Please leave. He's brave, this Avenel. These nationals who are too Puritan, we're wasting our time with them. We need to educate them a little. What lodge is he from? He isn't one of us, Brother Dubois. That explains everything. Here's an intelligent young man who needs a method and advice. Present him to us. He is sensitive. We need to proceed with caution. Send him to Le Revers. He should be able to persuade him. I'm on my way.
Pull up, he said.
My worshipful sir, we have a favor to ask of you. Brother Didon, I am at your service. Young Avenel, who just spoke so brilliantly, should be initiated. Masonry would benefit him a great deal and discipline him. Don't you think? I was thinking that. We'll take care of it without delay. So, I'm exhausted. What did you think of my speech? Excellent. You told them the plain truth. That won't help. They already voted on the project. It never helps to tell the truth. People don't like the truth. They much prefer lies. You're a cynic. No, I have some political experience. Some time ago, would you come with me for a while? I have something to say to you, gladly.
Oh shit, no music. Alright, I can play mine then, shit.
Look, I wanted to ask, if you remember our conversation about Freemasonry. You told me the other day that you were curious to know about the association. Yes, one hears sometimes good things, sometimes bad things. I don't like secret societies very much. Freemasonry is not a secret society. It's a discreet society. Why does it disturb you so much to see me become a Freemason? I'm suspicious of this association. It's full of social climbers. Okay, but it may have good people in it, motivated by sincere ideals. The text they gave me is full of good ideas. You think it's just a facade, an outward display? But it seems fair to me. You're an honest man, my love, but you have one great fault. What is that then? You never see the bad in things. You imagine other people are good like you. That's why you're always disappointed. Well, I have decided to try the experience. Do it then. I hope I'm wrong. When do you have to be presented to these people? Wednesday. So soon? Brothers, business will continue in these areas. The committee has voted on the interrogation of the candidate Avenel. Let's read our interrogator's confidential reports. Pierre Avenel, born in 1902 at Laval, took his first communion. Brother Maudrier, please, but claims he doesn't practice regularly. He's even stopped going to church. Very well, but claims to be spiritual.
Right?
Please follow me, sir. Allow me to cover your eyes. Brothers, the candidate Avenel, who has been recommended to us by Brother Gainsbourg, Vice President of the Chamber, is a deputy. But that doesn't impress us. We will especially examine what he can contribute to Freemasonry. We need people who will serve our order and contribute to its power. At the moment, he appears to adhere to national ideas, which are a little too absolute. I want to warn you of one thing. It's in our interest to have many parliamentarians in hand. It may be better not to ask him any questions, which will shock him. Be aware that he is sensitive about questions of spirituality or religion. When he has worked among us for a while, he will have evolved. Sir, you have declared that you want to become a Freemason, but we need to know who you are. Therefore, we will interrogate you on your intentions, your beliefs, your political ideas. Reply without becoming disconcerted, but tell us the absolute truth. Do you consent to this interrogation? I consent. Sir, do you believe in God? And why? You seem disappointed by your first encounter with Freemasonry. The interrogation was a little embarrassing. I must have seemed ridiculous. Oh no, you're mistaken. Others before you didn't reply as well. You got a good majority. 16 votes to 10. What? I had 10 votes against me? No, only 2. But votes in opposition count for 5. One more against you and you would have been blackballed. Masonry is particular in its choice of candidates. Not enough, my friend, not enough. I must warn you that you will be disappointed once you are in the lodge. The average Masons are terribly mediocre. You'll see that you give more than you receive. But these rites that you told me of, these mysterious initiations, stupidity. There are those who attach a certain symbolic value to them. The majority of the Masons themselves laugh at these old practices. But on the day of your ceremony, you'll find the tests are not pleasant. Letter of invitation. Members give the secret words. Wait here at the refreshment stall. We will come and get you. So, well, it's understood, my friend. I'll take care of your case. You can count on me. But it's very important, of course. Excuse me, the meeting has started. I'm a little late. Take your places, my brothers, and we will begin our business. My brother Durand, please take your place at the organ. Brother Senior Warden, are you a Freemason? My brothers recognize me as such, worshipful master. Brother Junior Warden, how long have you been a Mason? 3 years. Brother Senior Warden, what is the first duty of a guard at the lodge? It is to ensure that the temple is tiled. Do you want to ensure it is tiled, brother? The temple is tiled, worshipful master. Brother Junior Warden, what is the second duty of the guards of the lodge? To assure that all the brothers present are regular members of the lodge or known visitors. Stand to order, my brothers. Brothers Senior and Junior Warden, ensure that all the brothers lined up in front of your columns are regular members or known visitors to the lodge. Worshipful Master, the brothers who decorate the columns are all regular members of the lodge or known visitors. It's the same in the Orient. Brother Senior Warden, what time do Freemasons start their business? At midday, Worshipful Master. What time is it? It is midday, Worshipful Master. As it is time for business, brothers Senior and Junior Warden, invite the brothers to join us in opening the business of the Enfants des Universe of the Free Orient at the grade of novice in the customary manner. From me, my brothers, the sign, the triple clap, and the proclamation. Liberty, equality, fraternity. Take your places, my brothers. Business has been opened. Brothers, the order of the day is the initiation of the candidate Avenel. The lodge previously voted to take on the case of the aforementioned candidate. Therefore, this evening, you will solemnly receive him. My brother Tyler, please bring in the candidate Avenel, who is writing his philosophical testament in the office of reflection. Only through wisdom can we lead men. Not very jolly, this stuff. Sir, please follow me. Who knocks at the temple door in the proper manner? Worshipful Master, it is a candidate who asks to be received as a Mason if he is judged to be fit. My brothers, arm yourselves with your swords. Let the candidate enter. Bow down, sir. Sir, this sword that you feel at your chest is always ready to punish perjury. It is the symbol of remorse that will pierce your heart if you betray the society that you are entering into. Are you willing, of your own free will, to enter among us? Yes. It is an institution that proceeds according to its own rules. It takes its strength from reason. Do you still persist in your intentions? Are you determined to submit yourself to the tests, whatever they may be? I am. In that case, entrust yourself to the hand that will lead you, as it would be imprudent to impose obligations on you which you do not fully understand. It is wise of this respectful assembly to tell you what your duties will be if they admit you into its heart. The first is a duty of absolute secrecy, especially in what you will hear and discover among us, as well as everything that you will see and learn presently. I will demand an oath from you that you will prepare at the libation cup. Do you agree to take it? Yes. Brother expert, let the candidate approach, and you, master of ceremonies, take him to the libation cup. Present the cup to the candidate. Speak the oath with me. I swear on my honor to reveal nothing of the nature of the test that you will submit me to. I swear. You must know the importance of the oath. If ever you go back on your word, so solemnly given, drink. Drink! This bitter drink should be a symbol for you of the bitterness and remorse which will remain in your heart, perjury which will burn your lips. Brother expert, take the candidate on his first voyage. Who goes there? A candidate who has asked to be received as a Mason. How does he dare to hope for this? Because he is free and of sound morals. If that is so, let him pass. Sir, the symbolic voyage that you make is an emblem of human life. The noise that you heard represents the passions which influence it. The obstacles that you met with show the difficulties that man faces, and that he cannot vanquish or surmount them without the help of his fellow men. Brother expert, take the second voyage. Who goes there? A candidate who has asked to be received as a Mason. How does he dare to hope for this? Because he is free and of sound morals. If that is so, let him pass and be purified by the water. We have proceeded to the test by water, which represents your spirit being reborn into Masonic life. Your heart must be clear like pure water. Brother expert, take the third voyage. Who goes there? A candidate who has asked to be received as a Mason. How does he dare to hope for this? Because he is free and of sound morals. If that is so, he will pass through the flames. The flames that surround you have completed your tests. The Masonic order into which you have asked to be admitted may perhaps one day demand that you fight until the last drop of blood to defend it and your brothers. I now prepare the Masonic oath for you. Brother expert, lead the candidate to the altar. Brothers, be standing. To order, swords in hand. I, Pierre Avenel, of my own free will, in the presence of this respectable assembly of Masons, solemnly swear and promise never to reveal any of the mysteries of Freemasonry which have been confided to me. It was odd that my husband wanted to become a Freemason. I tried to dissuade him as much as I could, but you know how stubborn he is. He'll find himself surrounded by mediocre social climbers. We warned him as best we could. I hope nothing happens to him. There are so many stories about these secret societies. Don't worry, Claire. He'll avoid any bad situations. He's careful. Not careful enough.
He's careful. He'll be fine.
Sir, the oath that you have just taken doesn't trouble you? Do you consent to renew it when you receive the light? I will renew it. My brothers, we will give the light to the candidate. Brother Tyler, prepare to carry out your office. Give him the light on the third tap of the hammer.
I'll be right back. I gotta give me like 1 minute,
Very
please.
clear.
I'll be right back. All right. Sheesh. Alright, I'm back. 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 Yeah. Alright, here we go. Sheesh. Wait. Hey, yo, what up? What up? My bad, Jeff. I ain't see you. Hey, I forgot I even left the chat up there. Hold on, shit. Oh, come on, bro. Fuck. Alright, let me finish watching this video real quick.
He'll avoid any bad situations. He's careful. Not careful enough. Sir, the oath that you have just taken doesn't trouble you? Do you consent to renew it when you receive the light? I will renew it. My brothers, we will give the light to the candidate. Brother Tyler, prepare to carry out your office. Give him the light on the third tap of the hammer.
Team takeover.
Neophyte. These swords that you see pointing at you signify that all Freemasons will come to your aid if you respect and observe our laws. But they also say that if you betray your oath, you will not escape the vengeance of the brothers, spread out across the world, and who have sworn to punish perjury. Do you swear it, my brothers? We swear it.
Dang, they doubling like crazy.
My brothers, to the health of our new brother, to your health. My dear brother, what did you think of this evening? Very odd, but the ceremony is very impressive. My
Very
dear
odd.
brother, may I leave you my card in case you need my services? I sell everything from hats to socks to soap at unbelievable prices. Allow me, my dear Livy Stein. Of course, go ahead. Brother Avenel, we will soon ask you to make your contribution. Yes, one of our friends in our lodge wants a tobacconist. The Grand Orient is flooded with business right now. With your help, things may move a little faster. At your service. Many thanks. Later, I'll discuss some other business with
Too
you.
late.
For several years, I felt a Legion of Honor would be in order. I didn't pursue it. I didn't disturb your friends for that. We already asked them for enough. Would you help me? I'm at your service. Thank you very much. Until next time. No, not like that. A few little taps with the thumb. Like that. Try it. There you go. With this signal, all doors are open to you. So, happy? You seem troubled. Well, no. Disappointed already? Not yet. Tell me about stopped the session. I swore I wouldn't say anything. Even to me? Listen, it was ridiculous. It was strange. My love, it's silly, but I'm scared for you. What do you think will happen to me? On my love. Avenel found himself in a terrible spiral of compromise and Masonic favors, from which he terribly tried to escape. My dear brother Avenel, I've got a service to ask of you. Read all about it, the Ostrich affair. My dear brother, if you could obtain this position for me, I would be very happy. My friend, maybe a phone call to the prefect to annul this fine of mine. Demand freedom, the Pathanathan scandal. My dear brother Avenel, I need a character witness in a trial. One of our brothers is appearing in the magistrate's court. He may be a little guilty, but with a little pressure, and to show our Masonic solidarity, I'm sure you could clear it all up. The arrest of banker Charles Levy. Co-op bank goes bust. New financial scandal. You have to exclude him. He's a rogue. Of course he's a rogue, but as long as no one knows, we can keep him here amongst us. No! I understand your reaction, my dear Avenel. Let me give you an example. I knew one brother for 20 years, who I considered to be a crook, but I never said anything, because he was an excellent Mason. I don't share your opinion. Serge Alexandrovich Stravsky, that in unclear circumstances became a president of Acting for Government Land and Public Works Society. Next, he took huge loans secured by false jewelry and embezzled the money. Officially, he committed suicide. What was on hand to the government? Don't vote for him. Why? He's an enemy to Freemasonry. But his plan is excellent. It doesn't matter. He is deserting us. You don't seem to agree. No, no, and no. I will not do what you want. I ask you to conform to the Republican ethos. The Republican ethos is Masonic. I know what this ethos is. It's a sham. Brother, think before you speak. Oh, don't think that I'm angry. On the contrary, I'm very calm, and that is why I won't vote on this unjust law. You are destroying this country by poisoning it slowly. Avenel, you can't be serious. Don't you understand anything? As a direct consequence of Stravinsky affair, huge demonstrations of the monarchist and nationalist opposition took place in Paris against left government cartel, completed by bloody riots and fighting with police. The main objective of the demonstrators was Bourbon Palace, where the Chamber of Deputies was placed. Demonstrators shout, "Down with the thieves!" and tried to cross the police cordons protecting the building. What's happening? Look, calm down, my friend, it's nothing. What do you think we should do? Nothing at all. In similar cases, we have had to wait. And trust me, it's no major incident. Everyone will go home to bed when they have tired themselves out with shouting. What do you think, Avenel? I'd like to be with them at the Place de la Concorde. You can't be serious. I'm not laughing.
I'm not laughing.
They're shooting. They're shooting on the crowd. It must be stopped. They're crazy. It must be stopped. About 1930, on a Concorde Bridge, police opened fire to a crowd. A moment later, Parliament secured commander reported a prime minister that 7 men had been shot and several dozens were hurt. What shall we do? It's too late.
Damn.
They're shooting again. Gunshots. Blood runs in the streets of Paris. French people die so that Freemasonry can live. Sirs, we have decided the list of members for the inquest. Everyone agrees that we should put it to the vote in the chamber. No objections? The project has been accepted unanimously. The meeting is adjourned. Do you think it's going to work? I can't see any opposition. If that's so, we're likely to get away with it. I sincerely believe that. Our brother deputies are waiting for us in the next room. They are impatient to hear you. Let's go. Avenel, my dear friend, I've put you on the inquest committee. Me? Why? You're indispensable. I need you. Come with us. Our friends are waiting. My brothers, now we are together. I can tell you confidentially that we can get through these serious events without too much harm. The commission has just accepted the list that you proposed for the inquest. Many of our adversaries are involved, but the Freemasons are still in the majority. Rest assured then that neither the Republic nor Masonry are lost. They have come through a serious crisis, and they will emerge stronger from this test. Thank you. Inquest scandal. 35 Masons out of 50 members. Please get me the phone numbers of the Quai des Orsay, it means Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Banque de France, Staff Headquarters, the General Secretary of the Radical Socialist Party, Le Temps, and the Guerlain Aviation Factories. Very well, sir. Hello, the minister's principal private secretary. Hello, yes, let me speak to him. Speaking? I'll see to it, my dear friend. I can't tell you anything over the phone. You understand? Perfectly. Alert all your friends abroad, but under no circumstances mention us. Silence. Understood? Hello, General Mazzina speaking. At your service, my dear Lavier. I'm counting on you, my dear General, to ensure the army don't change politically. It should remain divided above all. Don't worry, I've already made important changes. All of the officers suspected of being against you have been sent out of Paris and separated from the others. My brothers, it is imperative that we get out of this tight spot. We have to combat the movement of the stock market. Is that not so, my brother Deputy Governor? We will support the currency. The right-wing press should stop attacking the left-wing press to achieve a balance, to throw them off the scent. Understood. The left-wing parties should come to an agreement with those in the center and those to the extreme left. In a way, we can control the people, the common man. Even better, the Front Populaire. As for you, dear Galette, I received a message from abroad this morning for you. They are asking that you send the aviation supplies to Spain immediately. In return, we'll have all the political pressure we need. Even our prototypes, especially our prototypes. Don't you think that would be dangerous for our national defense? Do as I say. Inquiry concludes government responsible for 6th February riots. No enemies on the left. Aircraft for Spain. Anymore. Are you sulking? No. Tell me, why did you refuse to take part in the inquest? I'm very busy at the moment, and I'm already involved in other commissions. Avenel, answer me honestly. Isn't it because we had a confidential chat the other day? Oh, well, yes it is. I wanted to talk to you about Freemasonry. Of course, sit down. I'm listening. Well, you were the one who presented me. I owe you an explanation. I have decided to resign. You seem to be disappointed by Masonry. Worse, shocked. Why? Confess to me. You wouldn't be the first Mason to confide in me. What did we do to you? Well, nothing to me personally, but I find that the Masons is rotten with social climbers. I agree with you. I didn't force you to say that. Do you think I'm stupid? I don't understand. So many virtues proclaimed on the outside, so many mysteries inside the order to cover up your little tricks. The hunger of its cliques. I expected to find devoted men, if not superior. Instead, I met beggars for tobacconists, or for honors, or rogues who are looking to use me to escape their prison sentences. Apart from them, sloganeers, those ignorant of everything, who don't know the history of their country, nothing of world history, nothing of politics, nothing of philosophy, nothing. Empty brains, but with petty ambitions and flapping tongues. And these people govern France? What grade are you now? Well, I was initiated as a master a short while ago. Well, if you have the courage to live amongst the mediocrity of the craft masonry for a few more years, you will move up to the superior levels. Is it any better? Completely different. Look, you're at the 33rd level, aren't you? That's the highest grade in masonry. My dear Avel, I'm going to tell you, although I shouldn't, of these famous Masonic secrets everyone finds so mysterious. In Masonry, we hide everything from the little people. At the bottom, you know nothing. At the top, you start to see the global game more clearly. Even I am not completely sure of intentions of our order's rulers. And when I say rulers, I am mistaken. There are no rulers amongst us. There are only executors. I am a pawn on a chessboard. I carry out a function. I receive messages. I obey. I pass on messages. I respond, but who is in charge? No one. It is much more complicated and simple at the same time than we think. What is Masonry? Groups of men who are united from the four corners of the earth, wrapping the world in a network of unbreakable links. There are 50,000 of us in France, 500,000 in England, 3 million in America. It's not many, but it's a huge number because we form a united front for one cause. We spread everywhere. We have control everywhere. Here, 300 parliamentarians are Masons. In England, the king is part of our order. In the USA, the president is at the 32nd level. There is not a country where we don't have our secret supporters, our men, our banks, our devoted groups, and that's nothing. I'm only telling you of the physical strength of Freemasonry. There is perhaps something else. But what? A superior doctrine. An ancient power in the world, which allows us to push people sometimes towards life, sometimes towards death, as is necessary. Death? But I thought that Masonry stood for peace. A certain peace. Our peace. Or else. Well, this resignation, I'll think it over. There's only one solution: war. To succeed in waging war, Masonry needs all its men. Who can we not count on in the chamber? Our parliamentary brothers are almost all safe, except one who I dare to name, because he is in our lodge. Avenel. He makes remarks against the Grand Orient, who he accuses of declaring war on Europe. It was a mistake to let him enter. We could still persuade him to change his mind. I doubt you would succeed. Who knows? Perhaps we can do it. French aeronautics production. Brothers, German aviation doesn't have any hardware. There were over 2,000 aviation accidents in Germany last year. The Siegfried line is barely constructed. The German tanks are moving with difficulty. One detail, among others, was reported to me by one of our brothers. When their tanks entered Vienna, it appeared that some of them were made of cardboard and mounted on bicycle wheels. Believe me, my brothers, it will be easy for us to fight National Socialism, whose ceaseless demands are becoming intolerable, and liberate our brothers reduced to slavery. Never have we been so ready. In 2 weeks, we will settle the fate of Germany. Our law governs Europe completely. Our victory is certain. It is not true. Silence. What he is saying is not true. My brother, I bring you to order. You don't have the right to speak. I know that. I am a deputy and member of the National Defense Commission. I can't allow a speech which is so obviously wrong to continue. The statements this man makes, our brother Richter, on the state of the German army are lies. And stupid too. Why would you want a war between Germany and France? My brother, you don't have the right to speak. I don't care, but I still say that no real grounds can be found for going to war. You can speak presently, after our brother's speech. No, I'll speak now, before hearing more of these stupid warmongering stupidities. All of you Masons are pushing for war, so that this country can be governed by your laws, by the Jews, and Masonry above all. The French people won't fight to defend such a vapid ideology, a vile regime, and a rotten republic. Brother Avenel, I ask you to leave the temple. You are all liars, falsifiers, and forgers. Everything here is just a black comedy.
Damn, on that note, I'll be right back. Sheesh.
Avenel, Avenel. I live in Neuilly, just like you. That's why I came to find you. You did the right thing, my friend. I was right behind you in the meeting. I wanted to congratulate you. Thank you. You did the right thing to tell them the truth. They are madmen. It is impossible to make them listen to reason. The facts are indisputable. Yes. Listen, I have some confidential documents about the current activities in the Masons, which may interest you. Documents? Yes. You are a deputy? It will be useful and urgent that you reveal them. Of course, but where are they? At my place, not far from here. If you have a few minutes, of course, let's go. So what have we decided? A gun or a knife? A knife. It will be less noisy. Look out, here they are. Just a moment, I'll open up.
They shanked him in the back.
A matter of morals or drugs. The young Deputy Avenel, who has shown signs of mental illness, was found unconscious in the suburbs. According to his acquaintances, he was in the habit of visiting such seedy areas. Don't worry, my love.
Snuffed him out.
You will recover quickly. The doctor just told me you are out of danger. As long as you are careful. What was that noise? It's general mobilization, my love. What do you mean mobilization? Don't get excited, my love. I shouldn't have told you. Don't fret, my love. You'll be back soon. They have done it. They have succeeded in starting their war. Don't move. Your wounds have barely healed. If I hadn't fallen under the sway of these criminals, perhaps I could have prevented this. No, you could have done nothing to avoid it, my dear. These men are stronger than you. You are well rid of them. What's that? Those poor people. If they knew what I knew. Brothers, we can confirm without doubt that Universal Freemasonry has achieved its goal. This war of ours has been declared. It will end with the triumph of our order. It means that the world will be governed by our methods and our ideas. Be standing for the order. Brother Senior Warden, what time does business close? At midnight, Worshipful Master. What time is it, Brother Junior Warden? Midnight, Worshipful Master. As it is midnight, and we have completed our work, I declare business closed. When I bang my hammer, leave in peace, my brothers, under the law of silence. The end.
That was pretty good.
The Masonic Temple in Philadelphia was constructed in 1873. It has been called one of the great wonders of the Masonic world, adorned with some of the finest artifacts of Freemasonry and magnificent lodge rooms based on themes of the ancient architectural world. The Masonic Temple showcases the traditions and values of the Masonic fraternity. Prominent architect Brother James H. Windrum designed the Masonic Temple, and Brother George Herzog was designer and decorator for the majority of the interior. The main entrance on North Broad Street and the windows surrounding it are in the style of 11th and 12th century Norman churches, with round arches and elaborate geometric and foliated ornamentation. The massive wooden outermost pocket doors are each 17 feet high, 7 feet wide and 6 inches thick, and elaborately carved to match the surrounding stonework. Along the inner steps of the temple are 2 large bronze sphinxes. The grand foyer runs the full length of the building, from the entrance gate to the huge bronze doors of the Benjamin Franklin Room. It is decorated with Doric columns, the oldest, strongest, and simplest of the orders of Grecian architecture. Oil portraits of some of the Right Worshipful past Grand Masters are hung on these walls. The Grand Master is the elected leader of the Masonic fraternity, and he serves a 2-year term. He is called Right Worshipful, meaning he is full of worship. On the underside of the grand staircase, artists painted the Pennsylvania State Arms, the Grand Lodge seal, and a roundel with 2 male figures representing the transmission of knowledge. The medallions around the landing display the seals of all the states and territories at the time. The hallway includes polished white Tennessee marble with egg and dart molding covering the cast iron balustrade under the banister. Cylindrical newels support spherical milk glass fixtures. Brother Herzog inserted a rectangular ley light resembling a glazed skylight and painted rustic scenes on the ceiling cove. He also designed the cove's partial balustrade with flaming urns and added painted ornamentation to the moldings. The Frederick James portrait is of Brother Stephen Girard. The statues are Joseph A. Bailey's Charity on the left and Strength on the right. The stained glass window on the second floor was designed and made by Benjamin H. Shoemaker, who also supplied the window and ley light glass. The wheel or rose at the top displays Masonic symbols: the all-seeing eye, the sun, the moon, Solomon's seal, Euclid's 47th proposition, the apron, the Grand Master's jewel, and a Bible with square and compasses. The central panel shows Moses and the burning bush. The bottom 4 panels represent the cardinal virtues: temperance, fortitude, prudence, and justice. The museum, founded in 1908, has one of the finest collections of Masonic treasures in the world, including Brother and President George Washington's Masonic apron. The museum's collection consists of more than 30,000 items. The library, founded in 1817, opened its doors in the Masonic Temple in May of 1890. It was a gentleman's reading room, where patrons could simply enjoy the daily newspapers. It holds 75,000 volumes, 30,000 documents and manuscripts, and features a circulating library established in 1952. Since 1998, the entire catalog of volumes and media has been available to eligible participants online.
Eligible.
The Grand Banquet
Participants.
Hall is 94 feet long and 24 feet high, with 4 windows on the north wall and double doors on the west and south walls. It can hold up to 500 people. The architectural style is the same neoclassical as the corridors, staircases, and library, with shallow wall arches and pilasters for wall articulation. 16 stop flute columns divide the room into 3 aisles. The pilaster and column capitals are adapted from the Corinthian, with acanthus leaves, fruits, and birds. The ceiling is a trompe l'arbor of grapevines, and the floor is entirely mosaic tiles. A suite of rooms for the Grand Master's use includes a large reception or conference room, an anteroom, the Grand Master's private office, a small meeting room, and a restroom. The reception room has a mosaic tile floor, a rug, marble baseboards, wood wainscoting with raised burled veneer panels, and a wooden classical entablature dividing the walls into upper and lower parts. The lower walls between the wainscoting and entablature are painted plain white, but the surfaces above are outlined in classically inspired faux mosaic bands. The ceiling is stenciled and divided into panels by plaster beams, molded with a raised Greek key pattern. The doors and windows are topped by leaded glass transom lights. 2 huge bronze doors, each weighing a ton, open to the Benjamin Franklin Room, which was originally a vestibule at the Juniper Street entrance. It was closed off from the main corridor to make a sitting room. With an unusually elaborate ceiling, this room is comfortably furnished for the members and their guests. Oil portraits of the living Right Worshipful past Grand Masters decorate the walls. 11 murals have also been painted far above the portraits. Except for the wood handrail, the central stair is completely cast iron by Robert Wood and Company of Philadelphia. The walls on the first and second floors, adorned with portraits of Right Worshipful Past Grand Masters, are painted and sprinkled to imitate light-colored granite. The closed outer strings have inset panels with raised vignette ornament. The octagonal newel posts on the first floor feature deep geometrical moldings. The electric lamps on the newel posts were installed in 1907. Oriental Hall fills the space originally intended for the main kitchen. It is for this reason that Oriental Hall breaks the customary rule that lodge rooms be at second floor level or higher. It was decorated in 1896 in the Moorish or Saracenic style. The colors and decorations were copied from the Alhambra in Granada, Spain, a 13th century castle. The ceiling is divided into 7,000 panels of various shapes, copied from the Hall of the Ambassadors. The border surrounding the ceiling is a pattern of the lotus flower, copied from the Salon of the Tribunals. The chandeliers are the original glass fixtures converted to electric in 1889. This is one of the first buildings in Philadelphia to have electric lights. Above the wall panels are a succession of small arches with a delicate embellishment of intricate lacy design. Ionic Hall was decorated in 1890 and takes its name from the style of architecture from Ionia, where King Ion reigned in Asia Minor. Ionians were mostly Greek immigrants. Refinement and elegance are characteristic of Ionic style. The walls are painted light blue, with panels containing full-length portraits of Right Worshipful Past Grand Masters. The primary decorative features of the room are 24 Ionic columns set at regular intervals against the perimeter. The ceiling represents heaven, and in the center shines the noonday sun, surrounded by signs of the planets and stars. The signs of the zodiac were often used decoratively by operative masons of the Middle Ages in Europe. The clock on the west wall is one of the oldest in the temple. Made in 1874, it is still keeping time. Masons have always looked to Egypt and its ceremonies of initiation and dogmas of religion imparted in symbolic forms with particular interest. Egyptian Hall was finished in 1889. Its architectural decoration is copied from a variety of ancient temples and tombs in the style of the Nile Valley.
Sheesh.
12 huge columns stand on the four sides of the room, surmounted by capitals peculiar to the temples of Luxor, Karnak, Philae, and others. The Worshipful Master's throne is gilded ebony, and the pedestal is flanked by sphinxes. The ceiling is blue, indicative of the heavens. A solar disk is placed in the east. Representations of the major Egyptian gods are painted on the panels in the east. All the hieroglyphics are accurate copies from Egypt. The woman's face on the capitals is that of Hathor, goddess of wisdom and love. In Egyptian mythology, she was sometimes represented as a cow, which is why she has a face of a woman but the ears of a cow. The hall includes a bronze relief of Thomas R. Patton, former Right Worshipful Grand Treasurer. He was instrumental in Egyptian Hall's ornate detail and was also the benefactor of the Thomas Rankin Patton Masonic Institution for Boys, now home of the Pennsylvania Masonic Youth Foundation in Elizabethtown. The style of Norman Hall was first called Rhenish Romanesque instead of Norman, implying that its architectural features come from the 11th century Rhine River Valley. The hall, finished in 1891, includes round-headed arches as the primary stylistic motif. They crown the wall panels, recesses, and window openings lining the perimeter of the room, and they appear on the principal pieces of furniture. Brother Herzog and his assistants grained all the ceiling supports to look like wood, and painted hoods and columns to look like stone. On the panels around the room are 6 life-size male figures in medieval costume, each holding a working tool of Freemasonry: the plumb, the trowel, the square, the mallet, and the compasses. The panels of the ceiling and the spaces between those on the walls are decorated with alternating patterns of involved ornamentation, like that found in ancient Irish or Scandinavian manuscripts. The clock on the west wall includes the letters spelling out clockwise B-A-Y-S-E and counterclockwise N-E-W-C-O-M-B. Basie Newcomb was Grand Master in 1821, and he is one of the few Grand Masters for whom there is no portrait in the building. Corinthian Hall is the largest ceremonial room in the temple, designed to seat 400 members at the quarterly and annual meetings of the Grand Lodge of Pennsylvania, and to accommodate the meetings of the largest subordinate lodges. The room measures about 105 feet long and 52 feet high. Columns, festooned with flowers and leaves, frame elaborate frieze paintings. The hall was remodeled in 1903 into a more archaeologically correct simulation of an ancient Greek space, with motifs copied from several ancient models, including 8 half-round caryatids in the east above the Grand Master's chair, inspired by those of the Erechtheum in Athens. On the frieze above them are the words Fiat Lux, or Let There Be Light, a motto in such perfect keeping with the Masonic symbolism of light as knowledge and the East as the source of light that it is embroidered on the Grand Master's apron. The stars and subdued lighting gives an atmosphere of an open hall in an ancient Greek temple. The rug, installed in 1963, was a gift from the Grand Lodge of Puerto Rico. There is a deliberate imperfection in its design. One of the corner leaves was left out to depict man's imperfection and to follow a Persian tradition that only God, or Allah, is perfect. Completed in 1908, Renaissance Hall is the second largest ceremonial room in the temple, designed to host the meetings of the Grand Holy Royal Arch Chapter of Pennsylvania and of subordinate chapters and lodges. The prevailing color of the room is scarlet, the symbolic color of the chapter. The hall measures about 77 feet long and 52 feet high. Brother Windrum designed it in an Italian Renaissance style. A painting of Joshua the High Priest hangs on the east wall, and on the west wall is St. John the Evangelist. The windows and huge ley light in the center of the ceiling include the Seal of Solomon, which evokes the sun in the midday sky. Just outside Renaissance Hall is a 12-foot lion's head fountain made of marble. Gothic Hall, completed in 1891, is also called the Asylum, Commandery, or the Commandery Room, named for the Knights Templar Commanderies, an appendant Masonic body. Because the Knight Templar degrees are based on stories from the Crusades, it became conventional in American Freemasonry to use the Gothic style in commandery spaces to evoke a romantic air of Christian chivalry. Gothic Hall is the only lodge room with its primary access running north and south, instead of the usual east and west orientation. It was designed to create a room large enough for the military displays, a central feature of Knights Templar work. Unlike other Masonic organizations, which require a belief in a supreme being, one must profess Christianity to be a Knights Templar. The cross and crown, emblem of the modern Knights Templar, hangs above the commander's throne, a replica of the Archbishop's throne in the Canterbury Cathedral. The Latin inscription around the emblem means, "In this sign you will conquer." The pictures on the walls are of past Grand Commanders. The wainscoting is of oiled pine, and all the furniture is hand-carved.
But there you have it. Shit, hold on. Give me a second. Let me, excuse me. Let me clear my throat. My bad. No, that's not what I meant. That shit just pops in my head, though, sometimes. Sorry. Alright, let me look for this shit, bro. What did I watch yesterday that I think I want you guys to see? Was it this one? I can't remember. Alright, give me a second. I'll try to find it real quick.
Verse.
That's not it. That's not it. Alright, hold on, man. Sheesh. Where could it be? I have so much stuff. And was it this one? I thought we watched this one already. Let me see. I think we watched this one already. Yeah, we watched that one already. Alright, so that's not that one. Is that the same one? Yeah, that's the same one I picked earlier. Alright, that's not it either. Doing great. Doing great. Shooting two. Shooting two, boss. Oh, it must have been this one. Alright, fuck it. Do it
The
live,
real mystery does not behave mysteriously or secretively.
It speaks a secret language. The real mystery does not behave mysteriously or secretively. It speaks a secret language. It adumbrates itself by a variety of images which all indicate its true nature. I'm not speaking of a secret personally guarded by someone with a content known to its possessor, but of a mystery, a matter or circumstance which is secret. Carl Gustav Jung, the father of analytical psychology, was one of the most influential psychologists of all time. Throughout his life, Jung formulated numerous groundbreaking psychological concepts that have left an indelible mark on the field. Among these are synchronicity, archetypal phenomena, the collective unconscious, psychological complexes, the personality traits of extroversion and introversion, and the process of individuation. The son of a Protestant who refused to adhere completely to any religious doctrine, Jung studied throughout his life various religious traditions, including Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, and Gnosticism, as well as esoteric traditions like alchemy and astrology. But what inspired Jung to dedicate his entire life to this field, and most importantly, what gave birth to his profound fascination with alchemy and the esoteric arts? The answer is complex, but there is one important but overlooked hint that could solve this riddle. And this hint lies dormant in the mysterious history of Grand Lodge Alpina of Switzerland, whose second Grandmaster was Carl Gustav Jung, his grandfather. Welcome to Agrippa's Diary, the gathering place for modern mystics. Carl Gustav Jung was a Swiss psychiatrist, psychoanalyst, and founder of analytical psychology, a school of psychology that focuses on the importance of the individual psyche and the quest for wholeness. Born on July 26, 1875 in Kessville, Switzerland, Jung was a pivotal figure in the evolution of psychology and had a profound impact on the fields of psychiatry, anthropology, archaeology, literature, philosophy, and religious studies. Jung was the son of a Protestant clergyman, and his early life was marked by a religious education, which would later play a significant role in his work. He was a solitary child, often retreating into his own thoughts, where he basked in introspection and deep thinking. It was the experience of creating an inner and rich world inside his creative psyche that led Jung to study medicine and eventually work as a research scientist at the Burgholzli Psychiatric Hospital in Zurich under Eugen Bleuler, a pioneer in the study of schizophrenia. While working at the hospital, Jung became acquainted with the work of Sigmund Freud, the founder of psychoanalysis. Intrigued by Freud's theories, Jung began corresponding with him in 1906, and their intellectual exchange marked the beginning of a close collaboration. Freud, impressed by Jung's intellect and creativity, saw him as his successor in the psychoanalytic movement. However, their relationship soured over the years, as Jung began to develop his own theoretical framework, which diverged from Freud's emphasis on the sexual nature of the unconscious. In 1912, Jung published Symbols of Transformation, a work that marked the beginning of his break from Freudian psychoanalysis. This publication detailed Jung's evolving theories, which focused on the collective unconscious, archetypes, and the process of individuation. The collective unconscious refers to the universal psychological structures shared by all humans, inherited from our ancestors and passed down through generations. Archetypes are the powerful symbols and images that arise from the collective unconscious and manifest in dreams, myths, and cultural patterns. Individuation is the process of realizing one's true self by integrating the conscious and unconscious aspects of the psyche, ultimately leading to psychological wholeness. Jung's approach to psychology differed from Freud's in several key ways. He was more open to the spiritual aspects of human experience and believed that the unconscious contained not only repressed memories, but also creative and spiritual resources. Furthermore, Jung recognized the significance of symbolism and mythology, often drawing on these sources to enrich his psychological theories. In his later years, Jung conducted extensive research on Eastern religions and philosophical traditions, which greatly influenced his work on the psychology of religion. But there is a certain aspect of Jung's life that no one talks about, and that is his connection to the Freemasons, a fraternal organization that traces its origins to the local fraternities of stonemasons in the late medieval period. Just for context, Masonic teachings revolve around allegorical and symbolic lessons, drawn primarily from the tools and practices of the medieval stonemasons, as well as from biblical and classical sources. So, Could Jung have been influenced by their teachings? The answer is complex, but the most likely answer is yes. And to prove that, we need to take a deep look at Carl Jung's ancestry. Jung's ancestry on the paternal side cannot be traced back beyond the early 18th century. The Jung family came from Mainz, and it is known that there was a Dr. Carl Jung who died there in 1645. And interestingly, in view of Carl Gustav's own later preoccupations, he was affiliated with the Rosicrucians. But the early part of the family tree comes to an abrupt end in 1688. In that year, during Louis XIV's siege of Mainz, the municipal archives took a direct hit from cannon fire and were burned to the ground, destroying all previous records of the genealogical tree. Thus, their history proper begins with Jung's great-grandfather, the physician Franz Ignaz Jung. What is known for certain is the identity and story of Jung's great inspiration, his grandfather Carl Gustav, who was born in 1794. Carl Gustav attended Heidelberg University, where he studied medicine, though his first love was poetry. Upon graduation, Carl began his medical career by serving as a surgeon in the Napoleonic Wars. His bravery and skill earned him accolades, as well as a deep understanding of the human condition under extreme circumstances. Following the war, he settled in Basel, Switzerland, where he continued to practice medicine and began to make a name for himself in the local medical community. In 1815, inspired by liberal and nationalistic ideas, he converted from his family's Catholicism to Protestantism and joined the ancient Heidelberg Burschenschaft student fraternity Teutonia. In 1824, he was granted Swiss citizenship and awarded the freedom of the city. In 1828, Jung was installed as rector of the University of Basel, a prestigious position that demonstrated his esteemed reputation in the academic world. But what a lot of people don't know about Carl Gustav is that he was also a Freemason and a venerable member of Grand Lodge Alpina of Switzerland. In fact, between 1850 and 1856, he served as the second Grand Master of the Lodge. His son, Ernst Carl Jung, also served as a Grand Master of the Lodge between 1884 and 1890. So, as we can see, important members of Carl Jung's family were high-ranking Freemasons, and without a single drop of doubt, their knowledge of the Masonic initiatory practices and teachings influenced him. In fact, Carl Jung was more in touch with the masculine side of his family in his early days. Jung's mother, Emily Preiswerk, suffered from periodic bouts of depression and was occasionally hospitalized due to her condition. Her emotional instability had a profound impact on young Carl, who later described his mother as having two distinct personalities, one warm and nurturing, and the other distant and unpredictable. This is important because it strengthens the argument that Jung was influenced by the masculine role models in his family. So, was Carl Jung himself a Freemason? Sadly, we can't answer this question. The simple answer is that we simply don't know, but it is a fact that throughout his life he spent a great deal of time among them, and his work might have been influenced by their teachings. Let's take a look at some Jungian concepts to strengthen this argument even further. In his book, Memories, Dreams, Reflections, Carl Jung writes, "I began to understand that the goal of psychic development is the self. There is no linear evolution. There is only a circumambulation of the self. Uniform development exists at most at the beginning. Later, everything points toward the center. This insight gave me stability, and gradually my inner peace returned." In Jungian psychology, circumambulation is the process of moving around a central point or object, both literally and metaphorically. In the context of Jung's theories,
I believe it though, because the ocean is they don't teach us much about it. It's not as well known as they supposedly know everything about space, but not about the ocean. So I mean, there's probably crazy shit down there we definitely don't know about. Ooh.
This concept is often associated with the process of individuation, where an individual strives to integrate their conscious and unconscious aspects to achieve psychological wholeness. Circumambulation, as a psychological process, involves revolving around the circumambulation of the self. Uniform development exists at most at the beginning. Later, everything points toward the center. This insight gave me stability, and gradually my inner peace returned. In Jungian psychology, circumambulation is the process of moving around a central point or object, both literally and metaphorically. In the context of Jung's theories, this concept is often associated with the process of individuation, where an individual strives to integrate their conscious and unconscious aspects to achieve psychological wholeness. Circumambulation, as a psychological process, involves revolving around the self, the central organizing principle of the psyche, which represents the totality of an individual's conscious and unconscious experiences. By engaging in self-exploration and self-discovery, an individual gradually integrates the various aspects of their personality, such as their ego, persona, shadow, anima/animus, and the self. This process allows the individual to maintain a balance between opposing psychological forces and achieve a greater sense of wholeness and harmony. Jung believed that the process of circumambulation could be observed in various cultural and religious practices such as rituals, myths, and mandalas. These practices often involve symbolic representations of wholeness, unity, and the reconciliation of opposites. Jung writes, "The union of opposites on a higher level of consciousness is not a rational thing, nor is it a matter of will. It is a process of psychic development that expresses itself in symbols." Jung saw these practices as expressions of the human psyche's natural inclination towards self-integration and the pursuit of psychological balance. And curiously enough, one of the most profound moments of the initiatory ceremony in a Masonic lodge is a certain rite known as circumambulation. The etymology of the word circumambulation can be traced back to Latin origins. It is derived from two Latin components, circum and ambulare. Circum means around or about, indicating encircling or surrounding something. Ambulare is a Latin verb that means to walk or to move. In short, it is the act of circling around a sacred object. The interpretation of this ritual is typically understood as a symbolic depiction of life's great journey. We, as humans, enter the world in a state of ignorance and vulnerability, reliant on others for guidance and support. Throughout our lives, we face numerous challenges, dangers, and fears. Circumambulation is often described as a representation of this experience. Although this interpretation does not conflict with facts or reason, it is likely that the ritual holds a deeper meaning. Circumambulation is an ancient and nearly universal practice. The Egyptians employed it in various religious ceremonies, such as carrying images of Isis or Osiris around temples or altars. Similar solemn rituals were conducted by the Jews, who would encircle the sacrifices, and the Arabs, who shared numerous customs with the Jews. Even today, many Brahmin sects incorporate this ritual. A priest must circle a sacred tree or pool during their initiation. Upon waking early in the morning, the priest faces the sun and walks in a circle, maintaining the center to their right. The laws of Manu dictate that in a wedding ceremony, the bride should circle the domestic hearth. For ancient Buddhists, such a ceremony held great significance, leading them to construct stone galleries around shrines for pilgrims and worshippers to circumambulate the image of Buddha. It is likely that Freemasonry has utilized the rite of circumambulation from its inception. In one of the ancient York rituals, the apprentice, demonstrating their worthiness to become a fellow, would move from one station to another, undergoing different tests by the master and the wardens. The rite of circumambulation symbolizes the process of harmoniously adapting to one's surroundings. As mentioned earlier, in Jungian psychology, circumambulation is associated with the process of individuation, where an individual strives to integrate their conscious and unconscious aspects to achieve psychological wholeness. While Freemasons use this practice in their initiatory rites, Jung described the process in a more academic way, suited for his psychological studies. But the similarities between Jungian psychology and the royal art taught in Freemasonry don't end here. Inherent in Jung's psychology is the belief that life is not simply a random biological occurrence, but rather a structured and purposeful process. Based on this, the numerous challenges we face in life, such as trauma, loss, anxiety, depression, despair, and illness, are essential, albeit difficult components of the transformative workings of the human psyche. We often mistakenly view ourselves as victims of our symptoms and suffering. However, these personal struggles are at the core of many archetypal themes and mythological patterns. Acknowledging the mythic aspects underlying our individual experiences dissolves our self-centered claims to life's joys and sufferings, connecting us more authentically with the human experience. By focusing on the shared aspects of existence instead of the distinguishing features of personality, we liberate ourselves and those around us. In this regard, the objectives of Jungian analytical psychology and Freemasonry are similar, as the communal bonds of brotherhood stem from a dedication to our collective human fate rather than the self-centered aim of refining and preserving one's personal identity. Both analytical psychology and Masonry necessitate a spiritual sensitivity without being religions themselves. For many individuals, a spiritual commitment can only exist within the dogmatic framework of a religion. Jungian psychoanalysis, like Masonry, is compatible with all religions because it acknowledges that existence itself is a phenomenon with spiritual aspects in which we all partake. On a similar note, analytical psychology draws from a variety of cultural and religious traditions, illustrating the same transformative process in human beings. Additionally, Jung also spent a great deal of time researching alchemy and deciphering its allegorical teachings. He viewed alchemy as a rich symbolic system that could be used to understand the human psyche. For Jung, alchemy is a precursor to modern psychology, offering insights into the process of individuation, the integration of the conscious and unconscious aspects of the self. Jung believed that alchemical texts and images were not merely about the physical transformation of substances, but also about the inner transformation of the human psyche. In the Red Book, one of the most fascinating works that he wrote after having experienced a direct and intense confrontation with the unconscious, Jung writes, "Whoever speaks in primordial images speaks with 1,000 voices. He enthralls and overpowers, while at the same time he lifts the idea he is seeking to express out of the occasional and the transitory into the realm of the ever-enduring." Jung saw alchemists as true mystics engaged in a spiritual quest, exploring the depths of the unconscious mind to achieve personal growth and self-realization. Paracelsus, a Swiss physician, alchemist, lay theologian, and philosopher of the German Renaissance, also beautifully highlighted this aspect when he said, "The alchemical transmutation is impossible unless the alchemist himself is in the process of transformation." Jung identified several key alchemical concepts that he believed were relevant to psychological development: nigredo or blackening, albedo or whitening, and rubedo or reddening. Nigredo represents the dark, chaotic, and unconscious state of the psyche. It is the starting point of the alchemical process where one becomes aware of one's inner turmoil and the need for transformation. Albedo involves the purification and clarification of the psyche. It represents the emergence of self-awareness and the recognition of unconscious content, leading to a more balanced state of being. Rubedo, the final stage, symbolizes the integration of the conscious and unconscious aspects of the psyche. In the final stage, the individual achieves a sense of wholeness and self-realization, resulting in the creation of the Philosopher's Stone, which represents the ultimate goal of psychological development and the result of individuation. Jung also emphasized the importance of the union of opposites, or the conjunctio, which is a key concept in both alchemy and his own psychology. Jung writes, "What takes place between light and darkness, what unites the opposites, has a share in both sides, and can be judged just as well from the left as from the right. Without our becoming any the wiser indeed, we can only open up the opposition again. Here only the symbol helps, for in accordance with its paradoxical nature, it represents the tertium, that in logic does not exist, but which in reality is the living truth." He believed that the reconciliation of opposing forces within the psyche, such as masculine and feminine, rational and irrational, or conscious and unconscious, was essential for psychological growth and self-realization. Those who study the royal art of Freemasonry are familiar with these concepts, as well as vitriol, for they are a core part of the Masonic degrees, lectures, and symbolism. So, all of these facts considered, it's fair to assume that Jung was definitely aware of the allegorical and symbolical rites of Freemasonry. His work, however, takes a more academic approach which provides an open foundation for those who seek out self-realization and knowledge, which leads some to think that he was not bound to any oath, and that fact alone would exclude him from the ranks of any secretive society. But no matter your stance, one thing remains certain. Carl Jung remains one of the most important figures in the realm of psychology and mysticism, and his discoveries and theories will, and already play a key role in humanity's journey toward rediscovering the truth we once knew, but at some point forgotten. Now, all of this considered, I'm also interested to hear your opinion. Do you think Carl Jung's work was deeply influenced?
Yeah, of course. Duh. He like spends 20 minutes talking about it, then he goes, I want to hear your opinion. Of course, bro. What do you expect? Before this one gets started, let me, give me a second. I fucked around and pressed the wrong button. Messed up the shooting route. What up? How are you? How are you doing, bro? How you doing? What's up with y'all? What's going on with the chat? Yeah, I'll make it a little bigger because I don't think yours can be seen. Let's see. There we go. Bam, there you go. Some more down there. It's light though, but you know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to have that shit too like crazy. But yeah, it's there. Nah, man. Shit, I'm chilling. The weekend. You good? That's good, man. Relaxing. Oh shit, the game about to start. Hold on. Make this a little bit. There you go. Shit. Move that shit over here. Eventually get it right, but right now I ain't even tripping on that shit right now. But nah, I got another couple videos, maybe one or two. Oh, your English is bad? Yeah, it's all good. My English is bad too. All I do is cuss. I know Ebonics, and I'm an American. I'm an American, so I only know like one language, which sucks, you know, because we don't know but one language. So at least you know more than one. Your English is bad, but you know, shit. At least you know more than one. We out here in Vegas right now. I'm out here in Vegas, but I'm from California though. Damn. Where you from? Where you hitting me up from? That's a better question. He said, "Wow." Yeah, I'm in Las Vegas by the big Sphere. No, I'm just playing. It's down the street a little bit. Hey, look at the snag. Korea. Holy shit. That's cool. Let me get that. Oh, come on, man. I can't make shit right now. Nah, yeah, Korea, that's far. Gotta tell my dad. It's like, Korea. Last time I think I got somebody from Romania. That was pretty far away at that point. I gotta. Jeez, man, what is this? There we go. YouTube, Twitch. Now y'all on Twitch. Yeah, what's good in Korea? What y'all do for fun out there, man? Shit. Actually met some people from Korea like last month in Santa Fe, New Mexico, of all places. We unveiled the Honda Santa Fe, and apparently, not Hyundai. It's Hyundai. My bad. Hyundai Santa Fe. Apparently, it's a Korean company. The new Hyundai Santa Fe. It's pretty tight too. It looked pretty nice. I mean, I like Mercedes, but for a Hyundai, I was like, this ain't too bad. They were counting the wireless charging. English is so fast. Yeah, they say we speak fast so the squares can't understand it, but yeah. Dang. Just come back more often and you'll, understand or decipher my version of English. That's funny. Uh-oh. Damn. What is that, pi? The pi symbol? That looks like the pi symbol. I'm not good at math. It could be the pi symbol or anything. I don't know. Math. I don't know. Is the pi symbol even math? I don't get it. I don't know. Can you pass me the ball? Okay. Guess he wanted to shoot it. Oh, it equals sad? Oh, I didn't know that. It's nothing to be sad about, man. Everybody's got to go through shit. You know what I mean? I could choose to be sad right now, too, but I'm instead having fun playing games, streaming, trying to, relax and shit. But, yeah, the world sucks sometimes, but you just got to, they say in behavior modification, you just got to, or in alchemy and psychology and all things, you just gotta try to think positive, I guess. I don't know, but no, yeah, in Korea, that's a Korean emote. Yeah, I never seen it before on Twitch. I don't even know if it's coming in properly. How'd you stumble across my channel? You're just checking out Twitch or what? Because, like, I'm also streaming on YouTube. I got a TikTok. I'm trying to get, like, a bunch more people on TikTok, but I only got, like, a couple thousand or something. But, yeah. Oh, shit. I can't get a block. The fuck? Uh-oh. What? Oh, yeah, I forgot I can't do that. All right. Wow. Uh-oh. Oh, that's too easy. I'm about to say, he gotta foul me. Damn. Probably wait, hold on. How many? Yeah, this is probably my last fucking game real quick, but let's watch this video real quick, see how much we can watch.
Hello, everybody. I am Lowell Thomas. You may have watched this scene before. Chances are that in mid-May 1963, you were one of the 90 million citizens of these United States glued to a television set, watching and praying for Air Force Major Leroy Gordon Cooper, Jr. His mission? To orbit the Earth 22 times in 33 hours and return to tell the tale. What bond ties Major Cooper, dropped from the sky and fished from the sea, to a group of men gathered under the sign of the Green Dragon in the year 1775? What were they doing at the Green Dragon? They were meeting as lodge brothers to plan the unique event that so effectively dramatized America's fight against tyranny by staging the Boston Tea Party. What is the sign that points to the source whence flows the spirit that has contributed so much to the triumphs of freedom for these United States? That sign is in the hearts of men who know this emblem, who have known it since America's dawning. There you will find the answer. George Washington knew that sign and all that it stands for. He lived his life according to the principles for which it stands, and so helped lay the cornerstones of liberty. This is the sign of Architects of Freedom, sign of a shared faith in the brotherhood of man under the fatherhood of God. Wherever you see it, this emblem signifies belief in the dignity and worth of the individual, in his God-ordained right to achieve his destiny through his own effort. Now, here is the key to our theme. Every man I mention, everyone with whom this film concerns itself, is a member of the Brotherhood of Freemasonry. Who are the men who call themselves Masons? Today, as always, Masons are men who act on the square, who guide their actions according to their belief in the supreme architect of the universe. Thus are they pledged to uphold the age-old ideals of honesty, integrity, and forthrightness. Major Cooper's devotion to these ideals is symbolized by this flag. He actually took it with him in his capsule on his historic flight through space. And so in every age, a temple is erected by Americans in every field of public service and private enterprise, by 13 presidents of the Republic under our Constitution, from George Washington to Harry Truman, by 5 men who have served as Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, by countless members of the national legislature, past and present, and by such public figures as J. Edgar Hoover of the FBI. And today, scores of bills are introduced by governors, senators, and members of Congress who are Masons. Add to them the names of some of our greatest military men, our captains of industry and finance, and our artists carving out of the wilderness their vision of the American dream. Their forefathers built their temple upon reverence, reason, and love of country. In Carpenter Hall, Philadelphia, 56 men gathered together on July 4th, 1776, to institute a new kind of government among men. 31 of them were members of Masonic lodges. Benjamin Franklin, Robert Livingston, John Hancock, and Richard Henry Lee, who on June 7th, 1776, in the Second Continental Congress, authored the resolution that preordained the Declaration of Independence. Said Lee, these united colonies are, and of a right ought to be, free and independent states. This famous painting of the signing of the Declaration hangs in the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C., here in its monuments and buildings of stone, in its works of free government, the design and stamp of those who have called themselves brothers under God. Here is the towering Washington Monument to remind us of the works of the greatest of all Americans. From this spot, it's but a few miles to another monument to the memory of our first president, the George Washington Masonic Memorial in Alexandria, Virginia, constructed in 1929 from contributions of millions of patriotic Americans. Here stands the image of the first man ever to serve as active master of a Masonic lodge while President of the United States. The one man, more than any other, who taught all Americans for all time to love God and honor country. Another short journey brings us even closer to the home of Washington's heart. Here at Mount Vernon in the afternoon of his life, the great man must have reflected upon the glorious endeavors of those who served with him. Those who did mutually pledge to each other their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor. In short, did make a pledge of brotherhood. How long a journey to the signing of Freedom's pledge from Virginia's House of Burgesses, where Patrick Henry demanded liberty or death. How long a journey from that lodge meeting at the Green Dragon. How long the way that Paul Revere rode through every Middlesex village and farm, calling a nation to arms. At Concord and Bunker Hill and Breed's Hill, where men like Grand Master Joseph Warren died for freedom. And how high the scaffold that Nathan Hale ascended to speak the words which will live forever. I only regret that I have but one life to give for my country. Brothers in arms, brothers in the forging of a nation, and in the fraternity which remains to this day a wellspring of patriotism. Benjamin Franklin, diplomat extraordinary, rallied many Europeans who, like their American counterparts, met in lodges to evidence their belief in the rights of man under the supreme architect. France gave us many, including Lafayette. French nobleman by birth. American by mutual adoption. Brother in arms with George Washington in the cause of liberty. From Poland, Kosciuszko and Pulaski. And on the high seas, the Scotsman named John Paul Jones christened his ship the Bonhomme Richard, after Franklin's Poor Richard of Almanac fame. His immortal cry, "Sir, I have not yet begun to fight." And in the terrible winter at Valley Forge, Germany's Baron von Steuben, skilled in the military arts, drilled the Continental troops for the stern tests that lay ahead. From the dim pages of history comes the story, beloved of all Americans, of the first true flag of our country. It was designed by Betsy Ross at the behest of George Washington and Robert Morris. 13 stripes and 13 stars, one for each of America's original sovereign states. But the leaders of this infant nation had discovered that the best will on this earth was not enough to resolve factions and conflicts into a durable constitution. At the Constitutional Convention, serene Ben Franklin rose from his seat and addressed George Washington.
In this situation of this assembly, groping as it were in the dark to find political truth, how has it happened, sir, that we have not hitherto once thought of humbly applying to the Father of Lights to illuminate our understanding? Except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it. Without his concurring aid, we shall succeed in this political building no better than the builders of Babel. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help me God.
And a standard as high as can be achieved on earth was raised for those who would follow, including brother Masons like Madison, Monroe, Jackson, and Polk, for presidents and statesmen for all time to come. For what they started would grow and grow and grow. The first giant stride westward, the Louisiana Purchase, which more than doubled the size of the nation. Two men, Meriwether Lewis and William Clark, were sent to explore the nation's rich new lands and open the Northwest to the mouth of the Columbia River. But while America began to stretch its muscles into the limitless West, danger threatened from across the seas. The War of 1812, British troops nearly destroyed the seat of government, forcing President James Madison and his wife Dolly to flee for their lives. The greatest hero of that war was Andrew Jackson, Old Hickory from Tennessee, later our 7th president. President James Monroe, on December 2nd, 1823, delivered his annual message to Congress. The newly independent nations of South America were being threatened by certain European powers. But these powers were duly warned that we could not review any interposition for the purpose of oppressing them or controlling in any other manner their destiny by any European power in any other light than as a manifestation of an unfriendly disposition toward the United States. And so the Monroe Doctrine was born. Meanwhile, a new empire of freedom was building in the vast area called Texas. In 1821, Stephen F. Austin established the first Anglo-American settlement. Other great names echo down the halls of Texas history. At a place called the Alamo, Colonel William Travis, battling fiercely against overwhelming odds and dying a martyr's death with his determined band of comrades. At the Battle of San Jacinto, Sam Houston winning an enduring place in the heart of every Texan, and later to become the first president of the early Texas Republic. Back east, New York Governor DeWitt Clinton had fostered a big move toward opening up the West with the Erie Canal. At this point, perhaps Americans began to think that nothing could threaten the bright future just over the horizon, nothing except war. On April 12, 1861, at Charleston, South Carolina, Confederate batteries under the command of General Beauregard opened fire on Fort Sumter. On April 14th, Union troops under Major Anderson evacuated the fort. Tension between North and South had exploded into the tragedy of American fighting American. In the South, many were the brothers who appealed for compromise, men like John J. Crittenden and Robert Toombs. And in the North, men like Stephen A. Douglas sought to prevent the flow of American blood. Even in war, many were those who refused to forget the meaning of brotherhood. Stonewall Jackson, Winfield Hancock, McClellan, Pickett, Nathan Bedford Forrest, Farragut, John Hunt Morgan, Lew Wallace, who later wrote the classic Ben-Hur, Simon Buckner, Sterling Price, Johnston, Beauregard, Wheeler, Magruder, and Albert Pike. Despite 4 years of fighting, all were reunited as brothers and Masons for all Americans to honor for their valor and their sacrifice.
With malice toward none, with charity for all, with firmness in the right, as God gives us to see the right, let us strive on to finish the work we are in, to bind up the nation's wounds.
The driving of this golden spike by Leland Stanford bound the nation together as never before. Here at Promontory Point, Utah, the tracks of the Central Pacific met those of the Union Pacific and Southern Pacific Railways to form the nation's first transcontinental railway link. Together with a new telegraph transmitter invented by Samuel F.B. Morse, the railroad spelled the end of an era. The legendary Pony Express of Alexander Majors and William Russell had done its job. Now the news traveled faster than ever before. Tales of the fabulous wonders of the Wild West, giant herds of bison, Indian terror and massacres, best typified for Easterners in the legend of William F. Buffalo Bill Cody. The men who went west found lives of hardship, courage, and adventure, and just plain hard work. Men of the wide open spaces who said, "Don't fence me in," to those who came to farm the land, the sodbusters. Could the farmer and the cowhand be friends? One who called himself a friend of the farmer was William Jennings Bryan, possibly the greatest orator this country has ever produced. He served his country well, first as a U.S. congressman, 3 times as a candidate for president, and finally as Secretary of State. The man who defeated him in 1896, William McKinley, whose second term as president was cut short tragically by an assassin's bullet.
I wish to preach not the doctrine of ignoble ease, but the doctrine of the strenuous life. There is a homely adage which runs, "Speak softly and carry a big stick. You will go far."
Theodore Roosevelt, one of the first to visualize America's world role on the 20th century stage, infusing a new tone, a new tonic into the bloodstream of a nation. Now America seemed almost ready to don the mantle of a great world power. But first, the mantle of leadership passed from Teddy Roosevelt to William Howard Taft, the 27th President of the United States. Taft later finished his career of distinguished public service as Chief Justice. Then, under his successor, America was again called to arms.
I know we'll probably finish it later, but yeah, I'll holler at y'all motherfuckers in a minute. I gotta go. Peace.